We've lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with a few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. The Drive-In Theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
What up, everybody? What's going on? You are tuned in to the Drive-In Speaker Box. It is Monday. It is 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. It is November 7th, 2022. We are back after our break, our Halloween break. We're sorry we missed you guys. I know Monday was Halloween, kind of an odd day to have the show because we're both Halloween people, and I had a big Halloween event, which was crazy. We had so many people come in, even on a Monday. Everybody's like, you think it's going to be crowded being Halloween on a Monday? Yes, it was insane. We broke an all-time Monday sales record that day. It was bananas. But anyway, I'm your host, Bo, the boom operator.
I am Slick Doggy the Grip.
And we're back, so welcome. Thanks for joining us. We've been chatting for a minute with our friends on Twitch a little bit before the show. We're kind of getting in a habit of starting the Twitch stream a little bit earlier for just chits and chats because people have been asking for some of that behind-the-scenes exclusive bonus content where we talk about nothing like cereal and snacks. And
some serious cereal talk. It's super cereal.
Maybe
it's like Man Bear.
Maybe
Pig
we should
cereal.
do like a parody of that NPR like cereal podcast, but it's just like ding 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 ding. Today on cereal, we talk about Cinnamon Toast Crunch in all its varieties, and then it's like one of that, like the flashback noise, and be like, let's go back to 1985, and we just do like deep dives on cereal.
Yeah, their theme songs from commercials, and meanwhile we're like eating the cereal.
I think we should do that, deep dives into the history of cereals and just call it cereal.
Strategic muting so no one has to hear the crunches.
No, then it's an ASMR channel, and
No,
we get to
ASMR,
sell it on like OnlyFans.
ASMR is not up close noises. It's supposed to be pleasing noises. It's supposed to be something you're like,
Dude.
Oh, but everyone's like, no, ASMR.
Dude.
Like, that's not.
There are so many people out there that if we were just hot chicks, they would listen to us eat cereal.
Oh, yeah, we could just rip ass into the microphones and have pink eye next week, and everyone would be like, ASMR. Yeah,
dude,
nice.
hell yeah. For real, let's do it. Anyway, let's see. Shout outs. Sam over on Facebook says, Dude and Dudettes, Major League butt kicking back in town. Dina says, shameless plug. Criterion DVDs are 50% off at Barnes & Noble. So they're like 20% or $20.
I was at Barnes & Noble Saturday, and I did not witness this, so that's upsetting.
Well, I believe Dina on YouTube is now working at Barnes & Noble, so you can go visit Dina at our Northwest Arkansas Barnes & Noble.
Where'd all the Squishmallows and Dragon Ball figures go?
I don't have an answer to that one. I hadn't been in our Barnes & Noble.
I go there specifically for Dragon Ball figures.
I didn't know they had toys. I thought I only had books.
No, they got board games and books. They got all sorts of sick board games. They got like Warhammer 40K stuff.
What?
Yeah,
I have to
dude.
check it out. But anyway, so we've been gone for a minute, but we did catch some movies despite being away. I caught the Banshees of Inisherin on in the theater this week. And what did you catch, Jake?
I watched Weird, the Al Yankovic story, and finally, after months of being released elsewhere in the world, the United States finally got One Piece Red. So I made a trip to the theater to go watch that.
Nice. So we will be talking about those a little bit later in the show. But first, we gotta catch up on some news. I'm gonna full disclosure here. This is my busy time. I have not been keeping up with news, so I'm leaning on Jake here to.
Oh my gosh, there's not a lot going on in the
news.
news. I'm news poor right now.
Because I saw that they were making like A24 is making a Friday the 13th prequel series.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Brian Fuller, this is the only reason that it's struck on my radar is because I really, really, really like
Thanks,
Brian
Dana.
Fuller. Brian Fuller is just an incredibly talented dude, and I think that with A24 behind him, and a passionate thing that he's about. Like the Hannibal series is one of my.
Yeah, you really like
I
that.
loved Hannibal. He did Dead Like Me, which I thought was great. American Gods. He did that adaptation of. The book of the same name. Pushing Daisies was actually pretty good. Brian Fuller, just an incredibly underrated director. Star Trek Discovery, but we're not going to talk about that. But I think that this would be a good project for him to do, especially with A24 being behind it. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, of course, we got to talk about the biggest news in movies and TV and whatever, and that's Henry Cavill's exit from The Witcher and how there's people on.
I cannot believe, and so
export. I'll get to One Piece Red here in a little bit when we do our review portion. Stick around.
Yeah, so I've been reading a lot of stuff. There's a lot of people on there going, oh, well, because he's returning as Superman, they're not going to let him be Geralt. And
well, he's the one that's leaving.
Well, I thought it was like less than a year ago where he's like, I really love being Geralt. I love all these books. I've been helping out with the scripts. I'm going to be here through 7 seasons. You can count on me. I'm Henry Cavill.
I don't know if he said that, but a lot of the things I watched and read and everything is that Henry he's straight up like a big nerd. He's like king of the nerds, right? And he kind of hates a lot of things on that show because while he cares about the source material and he's a fan of the video games and a fan of the books and he knows the character inside and out and he knows everything Geralt and Roach and the world of The Witcher and all the stuff, the producers and the writers are like the rest of the producers and writers of everything, and they don't care. They're like, well, we started the first few episodes that way, but let's make it our own.
What if he rode a laser motorcycle?
Yeah. They're like, let's put our name on this because who cares about the people that created this and have a lot of input in it and have made it beloved around the world. Let's put our dumbass names on this. And then what I've read is that Henry Cavill, on set and everything was like, well, but Geralt wouldn't do that. Oh, the Witchers aren't really like that. Well, that doesn't jive. These monsters wouldn't. And everyone's like, shut up, Cavill, idiot.
Yeah, I would like, as Dina said, I can see him nerd rage quitting. And I would do the same thing if I was like on a project and everybody was just like, just totally taking, super uncivil liberties with things that I cared about. I'd be like, fuck this, let's get out of here.
I am kind of with Sam here where he said you had me at laser motorcycle. Like turning it into Kung Fury would be the best.
But Liam Hemsworth, I think, is quite possibly the stupidest decision they could ever get, because you cannot unsee a Hemsworth. And, I felt like Henry Cavill was very much Geralt. Like, he became that character in a way that actors do when they're very talented. And they become those characters, and you can separate your, like, hey, that's Henry Cavill, that's Superman. I didn't think Superman when I saw Geralt. I was like, that's Geralt of Rivia. And like, that was it. But
he even tried to recreate the voice actor from the games, like, kind of gruffness and stuff because that became so synonymous with that character being dry and monotone and the way that Geralt is in the games,
I just feel like the Hemsworths are always the Hemsworths on screen, and maybe I'll be impressed. I don't know, but I'm not holding my breath.
There's times where each of them have been really good though.
I don't know. I don't
like,
it feels weird.
This Hemsworth is like, he was the only good part of that movie with Rebel Wilson where she woke up in the rom-com world. She like bonked her head and woke up in the rom-com world, and he was like the handsome guy and she's like super into him and he does everything for her, but it turns out that he's a butthole man so that she can just...
Was this like an Overboard remake or something?
No, they did that. That was called Overboard, and it was everyone forgot about it. This one was called like Hit Your Head Dream World Rom-Com movie.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. Actually, I watched and reviewed it on this show because it was one of those weeks where it was like, what are we going to watch? And I was like, oh, I guess I'll watch this. He was the only good part of it, is basically the point of that story. So there's dumb movies out there where he's the good part. So who knows,
We'll
man?
see.
I mean,
I'm gonna watch it because it's The Witcher. But
well, talking video games and Netflix, it was announced today on Netflix's Elon Musk Twitter bird feed that there is going to be a Gears of War live action and adult animated series.
Because we
Web,
need both.
Isn't It Romantic? That's the name of the movie. Thank you. But yeah, no. Well, so Gears of War has been one of those things I guess people have wanted to have a series of for a while, and it could lend itself to being a pretty cool sci-fi series because you have the Locust and the humans and the fights and stuff in between. All you have to do is remove the fire from cover element, and it becomes an action movie, I guess. Really.
Yeah.
But after what happened with Halo,
yeah,
I don't know. But it's also super violent.
you cannot
and
have
gory.
faith in these production companies to handle this material with any sort of care. And this is all
Well,
just
it's like,
being churned out.
Who do you cast to be the ultra beefed out, bulkier than any human ever characters of Gears of War?
Dave Bautista's.
Okay, all right, you solved it. There you go.
I mean, that's really about the only guy you can get, and he's getting too old for that.
No
Kind
way.
of like Hugh Jackman. They were talking about this week that in the new Deadpool, there's going to be a lot of Wolverine, but most of his scenes are going to be CGI because he's like 70 million.
No, I think that's like a fake out. I think he's like 56. Is that right?
Yeah, but I mean, even Tom Cruise is like, you can't like pull his shirt off and go full on like, all right, kshink bub,
He does. Tom Cruise does. Why wasn't Tom Cruise Wolverine?
He should have been. He's the right height.
Yeah.
He'd be like laughing a lot with his claws out.
There was some Facebook reel of Ben Stiller dressed as Tom Cruise right next to Tom Cruise, and he said something crazy, and Tom Cruise looked at him, and then they both did the Tom Cruise laugh at the same time, and I got really tickled about it. No, Tom Cruise would have been great. Yeah, Tom Cruise does still do that. I think they're doing a fake out because Hugh Jackman can still do all of that stuff, man.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
I mean, there's dudes out there. Stallone is still out there making stuff. And speaking of, in Stallone news, he's like 76.
Yeah, he's up there.
And he's doing this King of Tulsa or whatever series.
Mm-hmm.
So they did an interview with him recently, and there's going to be, what he says, he's still hopeful for there being a Rambo prequel, and he made it sound like there might be some more Rambo in the works, but being a prequel, of course, it won't be him.
Right.
But more Rambo to come potentially. And then I lost it. Where was it? Oh, Rocky, the Rocky stuff. So Creed 3 trailers all over the place with Mr. Movie in it. What's his name? The guy that's going to be Kang the Conqueror. That's the bad guy in Creed 3. That is
That guy. He's in all the things right now.
Some airplane movie. He was in the Candyman remake. He's in every movie ever. Jonathan Majors, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Anya Taylor-Joy are in everything.
All the movies.
The two of them were in every movie ever made ever. Liam Hemsworth as young Rambo.
Wasn't Liam Hemsworth in that like Wolverine's remake, the Red Dawn remake that they did? As basically a young Rambo.
So yeah, because
think he
Chris Hemsworth was in it.
Yeah, I think both the Hemsworths were.
It wasn't a bad remake. It wasn't.
It was, you know.
I mean, it wasn't. It was there, but so the Rambo thing or Rocky thing. Apparently, they wanted another Rocky, but after Stallone heard about this, he's like, "Okay, I've been doing Rocky for 50 years. We're gonna do it different because it's my movie. I made it. I wrote it. I starred in it. I directed all but the first of them. You're going to have to give me ownership of my stuff." And the dude, Irwin Winkler, in his biography that he released, that's when Stallone was like, "Hey, bro,
Dude,
I'm friggin' Rocky. Give me Rocky. I invented it. I am it. It's what everyone associates it with." And that dude was like, nah. And so that's why you get a Creed 3 with no Rocky, because Stallone was ready to do it, but Michael B. Jordan tried to take control, and Irwin Winkler dude was like, yeah, it's Rocky's mine, not yours, Stallone. And Stallone's like, you know what? Try to have Rocky without Rocky, you buttholes, and made his exit of that. But he said it was like a unfortunate thing. And now
He's
we're
credited as a producer, but that's it.
yeah, okay. And so now we're just getting a Rocky 3 remake. I mean, is every trailer not just a Clubber Lang
Pretty much.
recap? And they announced the Drago spinoff, and Stallone was like, "No, that's stupid. I invented this stuff. This is from my brain." And they're like, "No, Drago
They
spinoff."
famous Amos him.
Yeah. And I guess him and Drago, what's his name? Help me out here.
Oh, the actual guy?
Yeah.
Geez, if you hadn't, Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren,
Yeah.
thanks. They've made up since then, but Stallone properties just all over the place.
When are we gonna get a Tango and Cash sequel? That's really all I need.
Do you need a Tango and
I mean,
Cash?
it's perfect.
It's a perfect movie.
It's a perfect movie. That movie should have had a sequel. That
In the-
movie, of all movies that didn't get a sequel and needed one, Tango and Cash.
No sequel necessary. In our action movie card game
They
that
could
we
have
were
had
gifted.
any other.
Thank you.
They could have had any
It's
other.
the perfect movie for that.
They could have had another bad guy where they're just like, and then like
But what action shenanigans and hijinks could they get into? Because they were already cops, and they were good
but
cop
then
and
they
bad
became-
cop, and they were wrongfully arrested, and they made a prison break, and then they
and
were in a
stopped
nightclub
and they stopped
with
Jack Palance,
cross dressers,
Yeah, no, I was
and then they
pissed.
have like
and Robert Zadar was there.
they have giant machinery, and they have a showdown, and there's machine guns with exploding
And then
bullets.
cocaine was everywhere.
Yeah,
Like, it was the
and-
best movie.
And Cash wears ladies' clothes on a motorcycle. Like,
Velvet Santa said you saw Tango and Cash on a Laserdisc at Goodwill the other day. Of all the things that you messaged me in my DMs and you didn't send me that,
That's
and you
true.
also didn't buy that from me, I am ashamed. I will take half as many Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles memes, and I will take all the Tango and Cash memes. Like, come
dude,
on, sir.
Laserdisc uncompressed audio for the theme song that he was just doing.
That is, like, Google it. That is the Tango and Cash.
Also, there's that guy with the crazy face that they punch in the
Robert
prison.
Zadar with the monster chin. Like, he was very famous for that, like, very deformed looking face that he had.
Yeah.
So bad.
Tango and Cash has everything. It's a perfect movie. You don't need a sequel, because what would they do? What would they do in the sequel?
It'd just be, I mean, it'd be like Die Hard 2. You know, they'd just be more of the same.
It's gonna be in the cold.
Yeah, it'd
on
be
a
like
plane.
they're like on vacation, or they're like they did with
Last time-
like Beverly Hills Cop. They're like, you're off duty, you're not supposed to be here. It'd be like Tango and Cash, and instead of being in whatever city, they're like in Miami, and then there's like more cocaine, right? Because it was the 80s, and then they're down there, and like Tango is just like, hey, we should be like doing it up right with suits and all this kind of stuff. And he's got a really cool car, and Cash is just like, yeah, but we should be on the strip in my jean booty shorts, and he's like skating down picking up chicks, right? And then
Well, why is he picking up chicks if he's already scored Terry Hatcher?
because
from
they
the first
broke
movie?
up. That's what always happens in the
That's
sequel.
what always happens. Yeah.
Because Terry Hatcher was like got famous and she didn't want to be in it anymore. So it's like, oh well, she got her career and she's in Europe right now. And then
Yeah, but if
that's
you're,
how it always goes
if
down.
you're like a skeezy dude like Cash, how do you let like a cool chick like Terry Hatcher slide, bro?
Terry Hatcher's the one that called it off because she got a job in Europe and he couldn't go or something because he had
She's like a
because his
go-go-
passion for fighting crime was too strong.
She's a go-go dancer. What job
Yeah,
would she
but,
get?
but remember she was like working on her degree or something like they were all doing back then. It's just like, yeah, I'm only stripping to pay for college, which is like the
Welcome back to the Tango and Cash Hour.
Dude, I love
We
this
could do
movie.
this.
We're talking about the sequel. We're talking about the sequel. We're writing the script right now. I'm telling you right now, if we talk about this long enough, it will manifest itself into an Apple Plus series. Like, I'm telling you.
Stallone, we want producer credits. Also, friendship. I want to hang out with Stallone.
You remember they did like that stupid Lethal Weapon series? What was it? Damon Wayans was in that or something? Like, come on.
Yeah, it was actually really successful.
Speaking of Wayans, I did catch that Marlon Wayans, like, Halloween Town movie or whatever it was, and it was all right.
Well, so as if Lopez versus Lopez wasn't enough on TVs at your house, you're also now, it was announced, talking movie TV news, you're going to have a Wayans and Wayans TV show again with Damon Wayans and Damon Wayans Jr.
All the Wayans. They should have an opinion show called Weigh In with Wayans.
Oh, that's $1 million idea.
Boom.
Keenan Ivory or any one of you, if you're watching, credits. Credit
them up.
Also, if you've never watched My Wife and Kids, that's a really good TV show, actually.
I've seen a couple episodes.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Anyway, we got to talk about more stuff because we got a lot of movies to review. Let's talk about movies that are coming out in theaters this week.
And talking Kurt Russell, the Next of Kin TV series. Next of Kin. Nice.
So there are some movies coming out this weekend in theaters. Let's get to them. This weekend, of course, being November 11th, this Friday. There's, of course, only one big one that's hitting theaters. There is a small Apple Plus original film that was getting a small theatrical release. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to get a wide release, but it does say in theaters and Apple TV starting November 11th. It is Spirited with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. It's a musical version of Charles Dickens' story of a miserly misanthrope who's taken a magical journey.
It's Scrooged.
It is exactly Scrooged with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I watched the trailer and it's Scrooged.
It's Scrooge. And, Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. So clearly Ryan Reynolds is playing the Bill Murray part, and Will Ferrell is, I guess, all the ghosts.
Yeah, or just the Ghost of Christmas Present. Oh no, I guess he is all
just
of them.
All the ghosts. Just
because
he's
they
Marley.
need more
comedy.
Yeah, he's Cratchit and
he's just
also the
Ghost
they need of Christmas Present.
Joke because they need the guy from Elf.
I mean, I'd probably watch it.
So Vince says it's been on Apple TV for about a week now. I had no interest. It was getting a theatrical release this weekend, so thought I'd mention it. Also, another one of those, like, probably in limited theatrical release, but coming out on streaming called The Friendship Game, has Peyton List, the up-and-comer.
From Karate Kid. Yeah, Cobra Kai.
So it's about a group of teenagers in a small town discovering a strange object that tests the strengths of their friendship. It's probably going to disappear into the mist. But the movie that everybody's going to be seeing and lining up in the theaters to make, Disney $1 billion for, and the marketing for this is just so panderingly disgusting to me. Because, like, Disney, and I don't understand how no one seems to be noticing this but me, but they're just like they literally were going, two underrepresented minorities coming together on screen and with superheroes, and it's like Samoans and black people, and it's like, can we just make a movie starring these people and not make it a movie about us making a movie starring these people?
No, because it made too much money last time.
And that, it's just like, and people are missing the point that Disney is taking advantage of and manipulating us this way. It's like, we can have these stories. There's plenty of amazing, diverse ethnic stories out there to be told, but when they are marketed to us in such a way where we want to champion Disney for doing us such a fucking service of putting a Samoan guy in a lead role, like that's the first time it's ever been done, like, and then patting themselves figuratively on the back in their own trailers and making us worship them for doing this, I think it is just, it's gross. And they're using diversity as a lottery ticket, and I think it's gross.
Is Namor Samoan?
It's like one of those island countries. I don't have my notes. Let's see. The guy that's Tenoch Huerta is the guy that's playing it, and he is. let's see. He is of Aztec and Purepecha origin. So there you go. So he is Aztec.
That's a lot different.
Well, I'm thinking, like what's when they did it
Black
with
Adam, Rock.
The Rock? Yeah, he's Samoan. But anyway, it's just the way they're marketing it is. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Am I gonna go see it? Of course I'm gonna go see it.
I really don't want to.
I'm gonna have to go see it.
Like I feel like I have to. I don't want to.
And also like, man,
I watched the last one. I didn't.
I'd
seen Lion King before.
Well, they're also kind of using this as a way to like, oh, let's go ahead and pay tribute to the dead guy, but also remember this, we're gonna sell a lot of money and probably not give any proceeds to his family, because like we just covered with Sylvester Stallone. But anyway, I only have Coke to sip. Yes, I mean I do have vanilla vodka, but I mean we'll see.
Maybe I'll watch Wakanda Forever. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be 3.5 hours of my life that I'd rather have for myself instead of Disney.
Disney, I'm just so mad at them for constantly taking advantage of us. I'm pouring this. That's what's coming out. Those are your movies. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, coming out in theaters. Going to take all of our money, and then they're going to act like they're God's gift to inclusion, when in fact they are the opposite. Disney is the devil, and they are...
Well, that's because they got Ryan Coogler out there doing his thing.
Man, that's good. Okay, that's coming out in theaters. Let's talk about...
Hulu Live is going up another $10, Vince says. Man, I'm so glad I dropped that way back when I did, because when I first got it, it sounded like such a good idea. It was like $40 a month for live TV, and I can drop my cable service. Heck yeah, dude, this is going to be the best idea. And then it got more and more and more and more and more expensive, and even though I paid for live TV and no commercials started finding its way in, and the digital DVR doesn't work the way it's supposed to, because when you wanted to watch WWE Raw and had it set to record, you still only got the 2-hour version instead of the full 3-hour that you set it to record on. Screw Hulu, bro.
Screw Lou. It's more like it, right?
Sometimes.
Okay. Let's talk about Weird. The Weird Al.
Talking about streaming services and commercials, I watched this weekend the new release, finally here, Weird, the Al Yankovic story on the Roku channel, which you can watch just by going to Roku.com. You don't have to have a Roku device or anything, but if you do, it's going to be right there. Or you can download the Roku app on like Samsung and whatever else if you have smart TVs and everything there. In short, it's weird, written, produced by Weird Al. He helped with the casting and everything like that. Daniel Radcliffe is incredible, right? Like he's just the best in this, and he's ridiculously ripped. And this is actually more, there's more action elements in it than there is like biographical. And if you expect any reality or any truth of Weird Al's life to be in this in any place, just drop that notion right now. The whole thing spawned...
What are you talking about? It's all true.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing spawned from Weird Al had like goofy vignettes that would play during his concerts of like him and Madonna and stuff like this, and people, I guess, kept saying, when is this going to be a movie? When do we get the full video? When do we get the entire thing? And he's like, I'll make it happen. And so this movie tells the story of his entire life, from young childhood until his untimely death in 1985. And it's his rise to the top, the absolute pinnacle of music, the most famous musician in the world, ripped off by people like Michael Jackson, abused by people like Madonna, who just wanted to further their own careers with Weird Al's success as an original songwriter, and the world's maybe not greatest, but definitely in the top 2 accordion players in a very niche music genre. It's incredible, man. I don't know what else to say here.
Do you have to be a Weird Al fan to enjoy this movie?
No.
Okay, that's the question.
You don't have to be a fan of Weird Al's, but if you are, it helps. Knowing who the people that are being portrayed are makes it even better, but you definitely don't have to. And I think one of our viewers here, Vince, who we talked about it in the Discord a little bit, the cameos made in this movie, especially in like the one scene where he's at like Dr. Demento's pool party and just all of these musicians are there, is the best. And it feels like a Yacht Rock episode at parts. and there's parts of it where if you do know the history of Weird Al, or if you know his songs and his discography and stuff, you see it coming. But there's other parts where they set it up and you're like, oh, it's going to be this song for sure. And then they just leave you hanging on purpose. They're like, no, forget it.
Awesome. It's kind of like Dina said, one thing that she said over on YouTube that I thought was it's cool, because again, how that internet affects what we see. This all came from a Funny or Die skit. It was like a fake trailer on Funny or Die, and now here we have.
Well, this is a Funny or Die production.
Yeah.
So it's a production of theirs. And Dina says, Dewey Cox, Walk Hard. It's very Walk Hard. And his dad is definitely like the wrong kid dad, like type dude, which Walk Hard is the best music biopic that's ever been made. This is a strong contender for a tie for best biopic. It parodies biopics is the whole thing, because it does like, the Queen one. It does like Doors. He has the drugs and his wild phase. There's parts where he like just rampantly murders people. Like the whole thing is beyond ridiculous. And as someone who was an extreme Weird Al fan in my youth, I've seen him in concert no less than 3 times. I really liked it, but I don't think you have to be a fan of Weird Al's to like it, because the whole thing is it's so ridiculous.
It's a comedy. I mean, that's the...
And then McLean asks, is this the UHF sequel that Weird Al never wanted to write? It's not a sequel, but there's a lot of elements of UHF in it.
I haven't seen it, but it kind of feels like, what they did with This Is Spinal Tap. It's like they're not real, but it's a biopic about a not real band that is real. But
so it spoofs Spinal Tap too, and it even has what's his face, Lenny from Laverne and Shirley, the main guy in Spinal Tap. Why can't I remember his name? He's in it.
Oh, okay.
Like he's a cameo there. It spoofs even the biopic spoofs. Like everything's there. Michael McKean. There we go. It's a fun movie, man. It's just it's a good time. It's a fun movie. Very much like UHF and Walk Hard fused together. It's not as weird as UHF. It's not as comedy hard hitting as Walk Hard, but it has weird comedy, and it's all right there, and every part of it is enjoyable and fun and off the wall and stupid. Dare to be stupid, man.
Right on.
I had a good time with it. Watch it. I
want to see it.
And it's 2 hours. It's like a full movie.
It sounds awesome. I
It's
want to see it.
really good.
I'm going to get a chance to soon, hopefully. Anyway, the movie that I watched this week, which is in theaters, not many theaters, only about 900 theaters nationwide, but it is playing here in Northwest Arkansas, which I'll go ahead and start by saying, if you have any interest in this movie, go see this movie. It's in theaters. I highly recommend it. It is the new film from Martin McDonagh. It is called Banshees of Inisherin. This movie is the 4th movie from director Michael McDonagh. He's a playwright. I love all of his films. I remember when I first watched his first movie, In Bruges, back in 2008. in Bruges. Again, it's a dark comedy. If you've never seen it, it's got Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell, who are the two guys that star in this new film, Banshees of Inisherin. And, Seven Psychopaths, he came out in 2012, which I really enjoyed. And then he got a lot of critical acclaim from Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which he did in 2017. And now this new film just came out, Banshees of Inisherin. The thing about Martin McDonagh that I think is not for everyone is because he is a playwright. That's kind of what he does, and dialogue is really big for him, and it's also what makes his movies really cool and really unique and really engaging, because his ability to write dry, fun, quick, dark, humorous dialogue is unmatched. Like, this dude, he can write characters and their interactions between each other like no one ever seen on screen. Like, it's so much fun. Let me see here. Oh, it's still talking about biopics.
Yeah, well, not Ashley said it's weird hearing us say biopic because I never heard it. Yeah, I always thought it was biopic. And one of our other listeners here, Vint, said, yeah, I hate it when it's pronounced that way, but it's catching on. And then
Biopic.
You got called a weeb. So with the weeb emote, yeah.
Anyway, this film, Banshees, as I'm going to just shorten it to, is a bit of a challenging movie. It's not a movie that I would recommend for everyone. It's really great to see Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell kind of reunite again for another role in one of Martin's films. Of course, playing very, very different characters. But this movie is about these two guys that live in, it's like 1920s Ireland. And they are buddies, and one of them just decides he's going to just not be friends with the other one anymore. One of them, he's getting older. He's trying to focus on his arts, his life.
Which
one? Brendan Gleeson. Brendan Gleeson's like, I'm over Colin Farrell.
I mean, when you say one of them's getting older, I was like, oh, which one?
And Colin Farrell's kind of like this lovable doofus. He's, everybody in the village, he's kind of, wouldn't be the village idiot, but everybody's just kind of like, okay, yeah, he just kind of yammers on, and, everybody kind of puts up with him. Heart of gold kind of guy, but, one of those dudes you don't want to tell to shut up, but sometimes you're like, I wish he would just shut up. Anyway, Brendan Gleeson decides, like, okay, just stop talking to me. When you're around, like, I can't focus on anything. I'm trying to write we're trying to write a fiddle piece. He's trying to, fiddle piece, the fiddle piece. And he, constantly being bothered by Colin Farrell, and to a point where he's like, look, if you don't stop talking to me, if you come up and talk to me again, I'm going to cut one of my fingers off, and I'm going to leave it at your front door. This is how freaking serious I am. And ends up happening, right? And then it's like, whoa, this shit's really real. And to really try to describe what a Martin McDonagh movie is about is nigh impossible. But that's the catalyst. And the rest of the story is about this village reacting to these two guys' relationship. And the way that Martin writes these characters and these characters interact, you can see so much of their relationship with one another, their relationship with people in the village, the unspoken relationship between the two of them when they can't talk to each other. And it's just so much of this interesting spotlight of this tiny village in the 1920s. And you're just drawn in, and it's macabre, it's dark, it's not a happy movie. It does not end on a happy note. But the journey is heartwarming and tragic, and you kind of fall in love with these characters because they're both wrong, and it seems like there's so much about life that could just be fixed with a simple conversation or a simple bit of understanding that escalates to a point. The movie is about escalation, really. And in every TV show where they're like, you kissed so-and-so, and no one's ever like, actually, they thrust themselves on me, and I was like, whoa, back off, not cool. I'm like, oh, really, is that what happened? Okay, problem solved. But instead they're like, and now there's conflict. Velvet Santa says, sounds like a film that needs a blooper reel in the credits. Let's see. Are they still talking about biopic? Yeah, this movie, it's so hard to explain, but I think that this is a movie that everybody needs to see. Much like if you've never seen Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, watch that movie. If you've never seen In Bruges, watch that movie. Seven Psychopaths, take it or leave it. But you are in for a treat watching any one of Martin McDonagh's films, and it's incredibly Irish. So some of the words are going to be difficult to find. Hit those subtitles if you got them. Or get one of those little things that have subtitles, because there's a lot of old Irish words, and you're like, what the fuck did they just say? But you just try to piece it together. Vince says, I love Colin Farrell, but when he will do a movie that's not paint by numbers, sarcasm of course. I love his interesting film choices.
Phone Booth.
Phone Booth
is
actually
a
really good.
movie.
And these two guys are just so lovely to watch on screen, just like In Bruges. Dina says In Bruges is an extremely underrated film, but beloved by all who see it. Yes, and that was early Peter Dinklage, another up and comer. Hey, thanks for the sub, Loach Web. Not Alice. She says subtitles all the time. Who watched a movie without subtitles? And you got the subtitles are amazing. But this is playing in Northwest Arkansas. I highly recommend it. It's really hard to describe what this movie's about, but just like any of his other movies, you can't describe it. You just have to experience it. And it's a movie about life and really weird circumstances in life and how they play out. So another fantastic movie in his repertoire. Again, not a guy that directs very often, and such a treat to be able to see this movie in the theater. There you go. Banshees of Inisherin in theaters right now, only in a handful of theaters across the country. I want to say 895 theaters right now. So it's a Fox Searchlight Pictures or distribution piece. So. Okay. Lodreb said bromance film. No, like I said, it does not end happily. They spoiler alert, they don't make up. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. So it's definitely not a bromance. It's a feud. It is a feud.
You know what's a good movie about Ireland and people that don't get along? I just lost the title. The one with John Wayne where he goes to Ireland and he punches that dude a lot.
Oh gosh, I thought you were gonna say like that Kenneth Branagh movie.
No, it's like John Wayne and he goes to Ireland and he's hooking up with this lady and her
Quiet Man.
Yeah, the Quiet Man's the titties, man. That movie rules. Because then John Wayne and this dude with a big face just punch the hell out of each other. It's a good ass movie.
Well, speaking of punching, you watched One Piece Red.
Yeah, hey, talking about subtitles and foreign films and punching people real hard. I did. I went and I watched One Piece Red, finally available in the U.S. One of the last places to get this movie. It's been in Japan for like 2 months, 3 months. It was given another release in a few other countries not long after, and a few more the day before we got it. Then we finally got it on November 4th, and I made it a point to go watch it this weekend with my brother.
It's actually got a pretty wide release right now in the U.S. It's in over 2,300 theaters, which I thought was very surprising.
Nice.
I think with the success of the Dragon Ball Z movie, they're like, well, let's try this again.
Well, a lot of anime movies. There's that one. What's the one you watched about the train?
Train to Busan?
The Weeb? No, the Weeb train.
Demon Slayer.
Okay, yeah, that one was a big success. Dragon Ball movies have been a big deal. And yeah, so One Piece.
A lot of weebs with a lot of money.
Yeah, well, I walked into so funny story real quick. Me and my brother walked into the theater because I got him into One Piece way back. I've been reading One Piece, or I started reading One Piece when it was still pretty fresh, manga-wise, and I got out of it for a long time, kind of getting back in. It's one of those things. I don't know. I'm not really an anime guy.
It's like a soap opera. It's been going on forever.
It has been, yeah, since the 90s. But we walked in the theater, and I didn't see anyone. And I go, oh, wow, a theater with no weebs in it. And then my brother goes, and there was like one dude sitting there.
And it was a mirror.
Yeah, but then after, no. No, it's some guy. But after we sat down, who was in the same row as us, unfortunately, in piled the weebs in their straw.
Like, hey guys, want a Pocky?
Yeah. In piled the weebs with all their straw hats on and everything like that. Which, by the way, the people that were in the theater with me who were pulling your phones out during a subtitled foreign film we've all waited months to see, and it's something that's there for people that just really want to be there. Fuck you. You know, like, why are you on your phone in a movie that's in a foreign language, that's subtitled, that we've waited months to have after it's released somewhere else, but before that, even longer of a wait to have this? You're awful. You're terrible. I hope that they use you to push into Hitler's butthole in hell as punishment for both of you, because you're a terrible person. Fuck
Hitler's butthole.
Yeah. Don't pull your phone out in the theater. Don't be a prick. So anyhow, One Piece Red. Wow, what a animated journey of J-pop.
Was there music?
It was all music.
Was it a musical?
In a way, yeah. So One Piece Red lies to you by telling you that it's a movie about the red hair pirates. It gets the name Red. It has Shanks on the poster. Shanks is a character introduced in chapter 1. He's the idol of Luffy. He's who Luffy aspires to be. He's the reason that Luffy's a pirate. He's the reason that One Piece exists as a series. And he's one of the most powerful people on the planet in this universe because he has the most powerful hockey, and he doesn't mess around.
Hockey?
Yeah, it's like energy.
Okay, gotcha.
Hockey.
I
Yeah,
thought you were
hockey.
going,
Like Hadouken.
Gotcha.
Hadouken. Yeah, hockey energy.
How was it again?
Hadouken.
Okay.
I nailed it with that because it had the ruffle. So Shanks is like the ultimate badass in the world, right? No one tops Shanks. He's a Yonko. He's the top tier of pirates. And they're like, you're going to get to see Shanks. You're going to get to learn about his life. You're going to get to know everything you want to know about Shanks. You're going to get to see Ben Beckman. You're going to get to see Yasopp. You're going to get to see his entire crew. And going into the movie, I was like, we're going to get to see Usopp and Yasopp. Like, Yasopp is Usopp's dad, and they've been separated forever. And Usopp wants to be a pirate just like his dad, but he's never been able to be around his dad because his dad's on a crew with Shanks, and they're sailing around the Grand Line in the New World because he becomes a fucking Yonko, you know. There's zero emotional payoff in this, and that's like a hallmark.
I felt like you went in there like really wound up tight.
Yeah, because it promised so many things, and the whole thing about One Piece is that you get character development out the ass. You get emotional build and payoff. And like I'm rereading One Piece manga right now from the beginning, and every story arc I go through, I get like it wells up a little bit. Yeah.
You cry watching anime?
No, not watching anime. Reading the manga, dude. I don't watch anime. Anime's for weebs. But it's an emotional build, and there's so many emotional high points and low points, and it's a roller coaster ride through the whole series, and it has songs and music and callbacks and things that make you feel things. And this movie is like, well, what if the world of One Piece, which is a pirate setting with low technology, thanks Night Ashley, what if they had a super electronica J-pop star that broadcast herself to the world? And spoiler, she's the bad guy.
Well, rightfully so.
Her voice traps people's souls within her world of music, and they have to figure out a way to escape. And it brings in the cool thing is it does bring in like every character you could even think of. Like all of Big Mom's crew that you care about shows up. All of the red hair pirates are there. The Straw Hat crew is there, and you get some of your favorite Marines that show up. And with some tertiary appearances by some of the others that you would want to see more from. But the whole movie is just a showcase of J-pop, unfortunately. And when it gets to the action scenes, finally, after like an hour and a half of wading through dumbass friggin' J-pop and unexplained powers, you get to the action scene, and it's so obscured by the bright colors and the rainbow effects and the star bright bullshit in the background. You don't even get to enjoy the action, and there's no interaction with Usopp and Yasopp. There's no interaction with Luffy and Shanks. You don't get to have like these like moments that are worth paying the price of a movie ticket to have, and then it just ends. And
Leaving you hanging?
yeah, I was very disappointed, extremely disappointed in everything about the movie, except there's some callbacks to the early adventures. You see scenes that line up, and they're like that, like transparency. And you're like, oh, look, there's Bone Clay, there's Garp, there's the island where this happened, and the mayor from Luffy's home, and you get to see all these things. But the majority of the movie is listening to J-pop over and
did you
over.
love it?
No, man, I didn't want to watch. Oh man, what's her name? With the green hair, the CGI J-pop star. Crap, I can't think of it. Green pigtails, J-pop, CGI.
I don't know that one. I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah, everyone knows. Something Miki, Hanatsu Miki. I don't know.
Sounds good.
The point is, it was a CGI J-pop nonsense movie that had very little One Piece involved in it, and like One Piece was the setting to get some music on screen, and that was upsetting. And unfortunately for that, that's what's going on for people that are watching the anime. They've tried to bring this character in as a filler arc while they're waiting for more Wano stuff to happen. But since Oda released some artwork for the movie on the internet the other day, I will say a spoiler, but it's been showcased. You do get to see animated Luffy Gear 5.
Okay.
Which is pretty sick. It's a brand new thing in the manga. It's like a brand new thing.
Gear 5, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
In the theater.
It's pretty cool. But you only get to see it for like 2 seconds.
But on the big screen.
Yeah. Other than that, it's just a J-pop featurette. You get very little Kizaru. You get very little Fujitora. You get very little Akainu. You get very little Akagami pirates.
Jeez. Not
Yeah.
the Akagami pirates.
The red hair pirates.
Jeez,
Shanks crew.
Shanks' crew. I don't know any of these things. I
Well,
need to watch One Piece.
You do need to watch One Piece. It's amazing. It's incredible. Read the manga like I'm doing.
Okay.
But the point of it is, it's if you're a fan of One Piece, it's a letdown for sure. I think my brother and I both walked out bummed out that was something that we had went and paid to sit through 2 hours of, because an hour and a half of it was...
I mean, like, what's 2 hours in the world of One Piece, though? Like...
I mean, if you're watching episodes, I guess it's 6 episodes.
See? I mean, if you're really thinking about it that way, it's like, what really gets accomplished in 6 episodes in One Piece?
Depends on the arc.
Let's see, exactly.
So yeah, unfortunately, if you are a fan of the One Piece, it's kind of a letdown. There's small tidbits that they give you. You get to see Shanks do cool stuff for like maybe half a second, and then they bring in Borsalino and Fujitora just to have them not fight anyone. Which, you know, all of the build up for this and everything online was like, you get to see Shanks unleash his hockey. You're going to get to see Kizaru and Fujitora both be there. You're going to have Navy admirals, like the top tier of the Navy and the top tier of the pirates. You have Luffy, who at this time is the 5th Yonko, you know, which right now in the manga he's an official Yonko, but like he's the 5th Yonko, and you have one of the real Yonko, so you have 2 Yonko and you have 2 admirals. Nothing happens. There's a different bad guy involved. Yeah. So it's kind of lame. It's kind of like weird, the Al Yankovic story. There's cameos in it, and you're like, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that guy. Yeah, how about this guy? And then they don't do anything with it. So unlike Weird, they don't give you the payoff.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it was disappointing. And unlike Weird, the music was not as good.
Well,
There's like one J-pop song that's kind of a banger, but they make you listen to it like 7 times, so you get over it.
Well, it's making money. It's making a lot of money. It's in a lot of theaters.
Yeah, because it's had a lot of build-up, bro.
And it's doing very well for itself. But speaking of which, we got to do the box office roundup because we're almost out of time. So we got to give you the top 10 movies in America from November 4th through November 6th, 2022, this last weekend.
Also, watch that shit in subtitles. Don't watch dubbed.
Don't watch dubbed. That I can definitely agree with. Don't.
And if you're going to be on your phone like a dick, go watch the dubbed.
That's right. Yeah. Only dickheads watch the dubbed. D is for dubbed and dicks.
Dick dubbing.
Dick dubbing. Is that needs to be like if you were in a band and like you were a guitarist, that's got your name has to be like Dick Dubbin.
Yeah.
Anyway, the top 10 movies in America. We're gonna start with number 10, work our way to number 1. We give you domestic totals only because that's what the studios look for in terms of all the green lighting. So we'll start with number 10, work our way up to number 1. Jake, take it away. Number 10.
All right, before we move too far away from it, one day I'll scroll back and I'll see how many of the weeb emotes were hit during that whole thing of me talking about that. Coming in at number 10, dropping from number 8 in its 5th week of release. Still holding in the top 10, Terrifier 2. Brought in $1.1 million this past week, bringing its domestic total up to $9.769 million. I really wish they would have better show times for that around here when it was showing. I don't know if it is still showing. I keep seeing videos of Terrifier 2, like little segments of it. It looks so stupid and full of gore.
It is super stupid.
I kind of want to watch it.
What? Really?
Well, it's not like a jump scare movie. It's just a creepy, gore, dumb movie. And that can be fun.
Okay, we'll watch it.
And then coming in at number 9, another horror movie in its 4th week of release, plummeting from number 5. Halloween Ends brought in
being on streaming didn't
just
help.
under $1.5 million, bringing its domestic total up to $63.48 million in its domestic run. Worldwide, it's garnished over $100 million. So that's okay, but for a horror movie that's not a low budget bullshit movie like Terrifier 2, being a blockbuster horror movie, I bet that still hurts pretty good. So hopefully it's making the money from the Paramount Plus.
It's doing all right.
Not but
it's
Peacock.
Doing all right.
Peacock is where that one's at. And then coming in at number 8, Till. In its 4th week. I did not realize this movie was in its 4th week. I was sure that this was its 1st or 2nd week out only. Till, based on a true story here, coming in, brought in $1.85 million this past week. It's only in 2,000 theaters. Its domestic total is $6.5 million. Actually looks like an interesting movie. I don't think the advertising budget was there for it, unfortunately. It might be something to keep an eye out for later on.
I wanted to comment on Dina's comment on YouTube. She said, I watched a good part of Halloween Ends on a TikTok live stream, and it was so damn boring. Anything you watch on a TikTok live stream is going to be so damn boring.
That's true.
Like,
I mean, Halloween is definitely like a movie where you need to be in the element of
you can't be just
watching.
like this, being like, oh man, this is a
watching
great
your
movie.
Phone, talking to your friends, and it be like do 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 do, and you're like, oh okay, I guess Michael's showing up.
Yeah, I don't recommend that being a way to check out a movie.
And then coming in number 7 in its 3rd week out, but first week of wide release, I suppose. Climbing from number 13, Banshees of Inisherin, which you just reviewed on the show, brought in $2 million this past week, and that makes its domestic total $3 million. So this is its first week of
still very limited release,
bringing in some money. Yeah, it's you pointed out earlier, only in 895 theaters, and I guess we're lucky enough to have it here. How about that? And then still hanging in the top 10 in its 5th week of release from Sony, Lyle Crocodile, something I saw one trailer for and have never heard anything of since, except for our readings of the top 10. Brought in $3.3 million. It's in 3,000 theaters. Kids movie, they got to have
Wide
an option
release,
out there.
yeah.
$36.5 million is its domestic total. Don't know how Sony feels about that. I'm sure they probably paid their animators enough to compensate for more than that. And then coming in at number 5, 2nd week of release, Pray for the Devil, $3.893 million, bringing its domestic total to 13.6 and only its 2nd week. How about that?
It made its money, though. I mean, it had a good
Tail end of the spooky season.
Yep.
Unfortunately, everyone switches to the Christmas gear. I don't understand it, but y'all are out there.
But number 4, though. Number 4.
Number 4, hanging in at number 4 in its 6th week of release.
Holy crap, though.
Brought in just shy of $4 million this past week. Smile, bringing in almost $100 million in the domestic box office. I think you just had it. Yeah, $203 million internationally.
That's a lot of money for Smile. Like,
That's
wow.
a lot of money for a jump scare movie.
Yeah, wow. Holy wow. That made the money.
Wow.
Wow. The
Christopher
people
Walken.
walking, the lady with her neck goes crack and you're scared? What?
Yeah.
People pay money for this.
You just went into Dice Clay.
Hey.
I like how if you're doing New York, it's
And it goes,
it's Dice.
No, it'd be like, what's up with this devil? It comes in and hey. Hey.
Yeah. I like how your Northeast accent's always Dice, man.
Well, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Well, you know. Hey.
Taking the 3rd spot in the top 10, Ticket to Paradise in its 3rd week of release, brought in $8.5 million this past week, bringing its domestic total to 46.7. Not bad, Mr. Clooney, for a movie
rom-commy
that no one heard of until it was released.
Or cared about.
Yeah, constantly surprised by the money that it's making. But rocking it in at number 2 in its 1st week of release in the United States, after months of waiting, just to let you down, One Piece film Red brought in $9.3 million from Weeaboos and your good friend Slick Doggy.
Being one of those people.
There it is. Yeah, no, Slick is Weebs, and then me. Me and
gotcha.
Weebs. Yeah, there it is.
And then
And
the number 1.
The number 1 movie, holding strong for its 3rd week in a row, Black Adam brought in $18.2 million for its domestic total of $137.
And doing pretty good at international, making a lot of money.
Don't know how DC feels about that though. Only $137 million. Warner Brothers has to be like, what can we do to reach Marvel numbers? Because
They're never gonna.
I imagine that Wakanda Forever will probably hit close to that number this weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's gonna make all of the freaking monies. All the monies, and you can see all of these movies that are in the top 10 right now get pushed down by at least 1 or 2.
Whoa, Vince says Black Adam, worst movie of all time. Man, Black
Jake
Adam's
liked
pretty
one.
good,
He
man.
liked it.
It's not bad. I hate what they did with the Justice Society, but making a joke, I see. Okay.
Well, all right, guys. Well, that is our top 10. That is our show. I got to get out of here. I got to go finish putting up Christmas decorations and get more glitter on my face. But we will be back next week, next Monday.
I got a couple of ones in my pocket you need.
Oh, yeah.
More glitter.
More glitter in my face. But anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find us over on our Facebook, our Twitch, or our YouTubes. We, all these shows are back up there. If you don't want to watch the video, you can download these wherever you get your podcasts. You can just search Drive-In Speaker Box. There's a hyphen in Drive-In, and then there's no spaces in Speaker Box, and you can get us on Spotify or wherever it is you get your podcasts. Or if you are listening to a podcast version right now, you can get it in a live stream. You can see all these people in the comments, like Vince and Night Owlishly and Velvet Santa and Dina and Logeweb and all these people that have been commenting tonight. You can join in on the fun right there every Monday night, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, right here on any of these 3 streaming platforms. Twitch seems to be the most fun, though. There's lots of fun things.
Yeah, you can hit us with the Bo's Up and Comer and Weeb emotes.
You can sub and give us money directly, which is awesome. And as Vince just threw in the comments, you can check us out on the Discord, where we continue the conversation all week long over on our Discord. Link is there in the comments, so check it out. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Jake's got to go to work. I need to go to work. We got to go to work, even though it is late and it is dark and the hour is upon us. So, as always, I am Bo, the boom operator.
I'm Slick Doggy, the grip.
And, this is the Drive-In Speaker Box. And I got to find my cursor so I can play the outro music. And, and then we'll end the show. Isn't that how we do this thing?
That's the process.
As you leave the theater, folks,
see? That's how it
please
works.
be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.